having a system that directly solves your pain points will ultimately benefit you regardless, you know?
Yeah. On this episode of Garry Talks, I'm joined by Misha, a tech founder with 3 degrees, a global mindset, and a sharp eye for solving real business problems with AI. From studying computer science to building Ecom, Misha's journey has taken him from classrooms to Silicon Valley. We talk about practical automation, busting AI myths, and why the smartest entrepreneurs treat AI as a reliable team member. If you're building a business in 2025, you need to hear this.
They don't want AI to be controlled by one organization, but to make it more so open source where people can use it. The amount of capabilities and opportunities it presents to people, even for basic tasks, is absolutely insane. People shouldn't fear it, but more so kind of get more included into it.
This is a GK Media podcast. Hey there, and welcome to another episode of Garry Talks. Before we dive in, a massive thank you for tuning in. Last year, Garry Talks hit #1 in Apple Podcasts Entrepreneurship category here in Ireland. And we even reached #3 in business. That's all thanks to you, our incredible listeners. This year, we'd love to go one step further and take that #1 business spot. So, if you can support the show in any way, we'd really appreciate it. Whether it's sharing this episode, leaving a review, or just telling a friend, every little bit helps. Each episode costs around €1,000 to produce, and we've now released over 100 shows, all in the hope that these conversations deliver something valuable for you to invest back into yourself. So, follow us on social media, drop us a message, and don't hesitate to reach out if you'd like to support the show further. Thanks again for listening, and I hope you enjoy today's episode of Garry Talks.
This podcast is part of the GK Media Studios Creators Network, helping people tell their stories. Become a storyteller today and learn about our podcaster network at gkmediastudios.com.
Misha, thanks so much for joining me in GK Media Studios.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here.
We're going to be talking about AI.
Mm-hmm.
Just please promise me that you'll keep the language simple. You're talking about blockchains and stuff outside and deregulation. I was like, oh, I'm going to get lost very quickly here. We met a few weeks ago because you were in studio recording videos for lead generation that you were putting out online for your business, Ecom. And we were just chatting afterwards, and you reminded me so much of myself when I was in my mid-20s, starting up in business, and there was this rise of a thing called social media. Mm-hmm. Facebook was kicking off, Twitter was kind of there. This was all before Instagram and WhatsApp and YouTube exploding to the degree it has, and your TikToks and all that in recent years. And you're very much on the cusp of the next wave of technology, but the hunger, the passion, the drive you have is really inspiring to an old fogey like me.
Thank you.
So you see, without doubt, AI is the future.
Of course, it has to be.
How did you get into AI? Because I know you have, 3 degrees under your belt now?
Yeah. There are 2 computer science degrees and 1 master's that I just finished actually a couple of weeks ago.
Brilliant.
So, been in the game for a while now.
Yeah, and you're only in your mid-20s.
Yeah, just turned 25 last week.
Congrats. So what is it about AI that you at your age, with the education you have under your belt now, what is it that you see?
I see it being as the forefront of our lives in terms of how we interact with technology, not just on a surface level, how we just text and stuff like that, but how you can actually have proper conversations in terms of with a system that's able to understand your direct needs. It's able to understand your personality, your traits, your behaviors, and it's able to help you in aspects of life that you might be even lacking a little bit, So it's able to provide, even on a simple level, if we look at autonomous vehicles, so self-driving cars, they came out, they're pretty new. Even your Spotify music recommendations, they kind of released the new AI software only recently enough where they provide you music, or even podcasts like this, where based on your traits and your personality behaviors. I see AI being as a core central part everywhere, in terms of how we interact with tech, how we live our lives, how we get medical care, I've been involved in numerous kind of smaller companies that are using AI for medicine. I haven't even traveled to Singapore for hospitality reasons. I've seen AI robots being like waiters almost. So it's a really interesting system or interesting time and place. We're still very early, by the way. Like we're very early in how it's going to be used, but I see it being as a core part of our lives in the next couple of years. It's going to be integrated everywhere.
So we work a little bit with AI in the business, and for me, any of the AI stuff that we do is highly advantageous. It speeds up processes for us so much. Little things, even if we're trying to master sound. I remember years ago when I was doing it, you could be hours trying to remaster an audio file, and it's done within a minute now. People, I think, who aren't using AI or who haven't yet seen the true benefits of it fear AI.
Yeah.
Now you're in the middle of it. So where do you lean towards? Benefits, or this is actually something we need to really rein in on and control?
Yeah, that's I see happening a lot in the space. The problem with AI is that it can get to a level where you do need to have serious regulation and control just for the safety reasons. But that doesn't mean you should fear it. You should still be able to understand how it can benefit you. Like obviously there's going to be some malicious attacks. There has been a spike in cybersecurity threats, for example, using AI, or people replicating voice AI, or deepfakes is quite a big one as well. But again, we're still kind of early in the space. But if you have AI tools that can combat AI threats, you're pretty much on the kind of you're going to be okay, But again, you can't stop it from having threats, no. But should people fear it? No. I think people should be at least somewhat educated on how the benefits work for them. So for example, in my case, I create a lot of back-end systems like lead gen. We do quoting analysis. You
do what analysis?
Quoting. Like, so say for example, a company wants to have quotes delivered to their customers, and they have just a manual system on board, so we're able to take all of their inputs, put it into their database, and kind of create a system that just sends out a quote instantly. So we had a couple of clients like that as well, and that's just kind of one aspect of how backend systems can work. Now, I've also been to conferences in Dublin. One in particular last year was SaaS Talk. And there was a lot of kind of buzz, if you will, around AI and customer support services. And I've built a couple of customer support engines as well, and they are absolutely killing it for clients. Like,
how do you build a customer support system?
It's quite interesting. So there's a lot of these things where you can get like past interactions from how, say, clients interacted with their customers in the past, like past emails, past WhatsApp chats, or past like Instagram DMs, whichever like public information that they used. You can literally take all of that information, synthesize it into one file, and create a custom knowledge base. A knowledge base is just a fancy word for a library, or the brain, if you will, of the AI, where it can extract information from. So you can literally create a synthesized file, everything on your business, and then pretty much make it interactive with your customer base, and put it on your website, put it on your Instagram profile, put it on WhatsApp, wherever you want. Even for my own business, when I need help, I created something called a custom GPT. So it's a subversion of ChatGPT, but it's completely trained on all of my business knowledge, my past works that I've done, my whole business blueprint, and I can literally talk to it like I'm talking to my own business, and get information like, oh, I had a client that has a similar problem like this. Can you scan my knowledge base against someone that had a similar problem? How we fixed it for them, And you could get more ideas of that. You might have missed something through the cracks. And it's just things like that, and how to use it in an intelligent way will completely triumph, I feel, the fear of it, And even now, actually, I'm writing my thesis. I finished off my thesis now on AI agents within cybersecurity measures, because I think that would be a key driver on how to provide ethical AI use to customers, or to people in general, because there is a threat that, again, malicious attacks can happen, but I feel like a lot of the fear is also like people thinking it'll steal their jobs and stuff like that, or replace their workload, which is not necessarily true. I think it's similar to how people react to when the .com bubble first came out, or the websites came out. They think they were going to replace their jobs, but in reality, it's the people that did not catch up with how to use the technology that got their jobs replaced, not the people that are proactively educating themselves, proactively understanding, or at least playing with the technology, that will not get left behind, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a great tool, but definitely something to keep an eye on when it comes to like security, but it's still, it's something to be worried of. There's people working on getting it, making it safe. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I like the idea of actually creating AI as well to fight off cybersecurity attacks and so on. Let's get to, because you were talking about the different customer thingamabobs you were creating, right? Tell us, what is it that you do at Aton?
So at Aton, we build custom AI agents specific for business problems. The kind of process that we do is every business has its own issues, it has its own kind of problems that it needs to solve. And what my job is, as a guy that's in between kind of like business and tech, I come in, I'll pretty much have a 2-3 hour call with you and break down exactly where I can identify some inefficiencies where AI can come and be replaced. So for example, we have a client now based out of South Africa. They're an e-commerce brand, huge company. They were making, I think, upwards of 600,000 a month just from a couple of products.
Nice.
And they have quite a big enough following on Instagram. They have 25,000 followers. So they were getting, I think, if I'm not mistaken, up to 300 to 500 messages per day on the account from people asking for like basic stuff like FAQs. When's my order going to arrive? This, that, and the other. And you can imagine at that level, they had like a full team pretty much operating, replying on DMs. So we came in, we had a call, and he was like, okay, this is how many questions we're getting. This is the majority of the stuff that we're trying to like answer on. And they're like, okay, we can create a custom knowledge base. Give me all of the past interactions they had that they train their staff on. Based on what you're training your staff, I can create a customized system based on what you told me. And then we created the system, we plugged it into their social media platforms, and now it just answers without them having to do anything. Now we took it a little bit a step further, so we actually inserted product recommendations as well, and flagging of important words. So how that works is, now there's a lot of chatbots available per se online, and a lot of them are just more static, what means that you say one thing and you get a reply. They are quite not as good as what we try and do. We try to understand the context of it. So we're using a principle in AI called contextual awareness. So contextual awareness allows the AI system to comprehend what is being said to it, and based on what is being said to it, provide an appropriate response. So for example, say they sell books, for example, actually they sell like journals. They have different versions. They have English, they have French, they have Spanish, whatever. One problem they had is that they were getting so many emails about, oh, do you have a Spanish word or Spanish book, and they didn't have it at the time.
Yeah.
And the only reason they were able to get it was because they had someone looking at the emails 24/7. They've seen a pattern. Okay, so right now what we did is a customer from their side puts in a word, say, oh, do you guys have a Spanish book? And they say they don't. That then gets flagged. It's like, okay, potential product idea. And that gets sent to their internal team saying, okay, there's a flag for potential product idea. Then we have one for bulk orders. Say we want a bulk order of 25 books for our team. That gets sent to their Slack. And then a human can answer for them then. So then there's a couple of other smaller ones.
But even the Spanish book is really interesting because one of the most important things in business that a lot of people don't listen to or pay attention to when they start out is this thing. Your customers, if you listen, your customers will tell you what they want. And too many businesses start out telling the customer what they're going to get rather than actually delivering what they want. But actually having a system, because you could have 500 emails coming in a day and maybe, a team of 10 even dealing with all these incoming messages. But the person who receives the email asking about the Spanish book, it's up to them to make the call. Are they going to send it on or not? And they might say, look, I have another 40 responses to get to. So we don't have it. Good luck. And on to the next one. So it's great even having that sort of filtration system happening.
It transformed their whole business operation. Now, I think from my understanding that this flagging of this Spanish book, it made them upwards of 200,000 additional MRR. Like, that's crazy. Like, if they didn't understand that or see that, they would have lost on so much business. And that's like the problem with how AI is not being used properly, I suppose. And that's just kind of one example of what we did. So we had we have bulk orders, like custom orders, maybe missing products. Then we have also created a system where, in conjunction with their whole Shopify store, they're on Shopify, and now we can actually input product links within the system as well. So they will say, okay, I want a journal for my mum, for example. They say, oh yeah, of course, we have a journal for your mum, whatever. And it gives them the link with the picture where they can purchase directly within the Instagram chatbot from their website.
Oh, brilliant.
So it's like it drives conversion rates through the roof. It saves a ton of time in messages. Only the flags, maybe the most important messages get flagged and sent to an internal team for follow-ups. So that saved them. I can't even, I have to ask them exactly how much time that saved them, but even in terms of revenue-wise, that could add up 10K, 15K more easily, you know.
Wow.
So,
it's a great business model door opener, because people come to you and say, look, this is our business. What can you fix? What can you solve? And you just worked your magic then to come up with different AI solutions to make their business more efficient.
Exactly. Like, so that's the kind of come in, we'll do a nice healthy audit on like their operations, and then we'll see what can be done. So each business is quite different.
Yeah.
Like we have one now, we had one guy in Canada, similar enough to, with two kind of similar problems but different niches, for example. So one guy was selling solar panels, and one guy was a small enough company based in Ireland here. And they both needed ways to get to their clients quicker and respond to their clients quicker. And what they did is they had like a form to fill out on their website based on what they offered. And in their case, they were offering, one was offering like solar panels like for the installations, and one was offering like windows and doors installations. And by the time they got a quote, got the information from the client, what they wanted, put everything together in warehouse, what they have, out of their pricing, out of their VAT, out of the time shipping, all that stuff, they were taking maybe half an hour, 20 minutes to get back to each client. So you can imagine how slowly that can build up. Then if you have even a healthy business, we do lead gen as well. So they say we get them a couple of clients as well. So they get maybe 10, we'll say 10 a day on their filling out quotes. You can imagine 10 at 20 minutes. Even if you're fast, we'll give 15 minutes. Say you're really fast at filling these quotes out. Say that's like what?
15 minutes,
15
10
minutes,
people, 150 minutes. Yeah, you're talking about what, 2.5 hours. Yeah.
2.5 hours per day, just filling out quotes. And that's not even guaranteed that they're a buy. Now, we came in and we automated that entire process. So they get a customer puts in a inquiry, they get a quote in like 30 seconds.
Wow.
30 seconds. And then on top of that, if they don't reply to them or they don't do the quote, we have a AI-based email trigger to send out follow-up emails, personalized AI emails saying, oh, hey, John, is there something missing from your quote, whatever, do you want us to have a call, whatever, So it kind of pushes that reoccurring buy while also eliminating the time bottleneck of them having to do it manually, and they can do this on the go. So a lot of these guys were driving a lot, doing installations, and then they had to go home and then do the quotes manually.
Welcome to my world, yeah.
So in this case, they could be on the road all day doing installations and still getting back to clients without even thinking about it,
Wow.
So that was a nice one as well. But
that's amazing, yeah. Because even sometimes I notice if we're out doing a shoot or something like that, and it's great, but I'm very aware that at the end of the day, it could be an 8-hour shoot or something we're on. I'm very aware that I'm going to be on the computer for the next 4 hours at least when I go home, getting back to emails, doing up quotes, sending invoices, responding to queries. Yeah, it's nuts.
Like even now for some of the lead gen stuff as well, you can have do AI-based personalized outreach at scale. You can send out AI-based rotating email inboxes, so sending out 200 to 300 emails per day, getting clients in that way, booking them in through calls where you're still pretty much on the road, so you can get clients booking in and you just have a stacked calendar of potential meetings, and it's just kind of up to you to kind of close them off afterwards, So, but that's just kind of like some of the real business aspects that we've seen AI being used in that's not being utilized as, or people are afraid that might be replacing their jobs, but it's actually assisting them now. So in the case of the small business guy that's doing all the quotes manually and on the road, this frees him up to do maybe 2 to 3 more installations per day while also getting more clients. So it's kind of like a no-brainer in their eyes. And that's how, and they're small enough companies, or like the small to medium businesses that don't have the capacity to have massive staff doing this 24/7. Still, it's a really nice way to see that working for them,
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I know of a medical centre as well that would be quite big and would deal with, maybe 80 clients coming through the doors every day, and they have this AI system that kicks in at kind of 5 p.m. in the evening that starts contacting people for the next day, reminding them that their appointment, telling them their slot, telling them, whatever to park, if they're to diet, all this sort of stuff. This all happens. So when the staff come in then at 8 a.m. the following morning, they know if Mary, Joe, Frank, whoever has cancelled or confirmed or whatever.
Exactly. Another
very
cool one.
efficient.
Another cool one that I seen when I was in Singapore. Actually, both in Singapore and Silicon Valley, they were kind of teasing around the idea of it was voice agents, AI-based voice agents and callers. So I had a call with a client based in the US, and we were chatting about it. And they have like a small enough gym, local gym. I think they have like maybe a couple of hundred members, and they have one staff at the desk, and then like some doing like PTs and personal trainers. And we were chatting away, and then her shift, like this lady's front desk job finishes at like 5 p.m. and the gym is 24/7. So they're like working 24/7, but there's no one at the door. And they sometimes get calls at like 6, 7, 8, 9 p.m. and nobody's answering the phone. So now we're building out a system for them whereby we train it on their voice of the assistant. So you can actually clone the voice of it. You can clone the voice. You can input all of the gym's kind of knowledge-based questions like, oh, I want to sign up for a membership, or we're open at this time, we're open at that time, someone will be in at this time, whatever. So everything that the assistant could pretty much do on the phone, we're building out a voice agent that can do the same thing while she's away or she's not working, or so it works 24/7. And that then can be connected to another system where you can have people directly buying from the voice agents. Also like send them like an SMS link, okay, here you can sign up to this, that, to our membership. So it's really interesting to see how businesses are starting to incorporate AI, and my mission statement is to essentially empower businesses to get the benefits of AI and then make it accessible to everybody, not just people that are so clued in, because even I understand that a lot of people are not like tech savvy, and AI can be a lot of complicated thing to comprehend, but if you kind of break it down to the core, I think having a system that directly solves your pain points will all ultimately benefit you regardless,
Yeah.
It's just a matter of how to get it done. I think there's a lot of hype around AI as well, saying, oh, we're doing this, we're AI-based startup, we're AI-based this, but I think it still boils down to the core business ethos of having a product or a service that solves a problem, not just something that's fancy and AI native or whatever the case might be. So that's where...
And what I love about having spoken to you before, and even people might be picking up on it in our discussion now, is you're all about helping businesses and helping people. Like it's coming from such a good place. It's not about, I think there's people jumping on the bandwagon of AI thinking it's the next gold rush. But I think really for sustainability and making a positive difference in the world, it needs to be from the core, coming from a good place.
Exactly.
You were talking to me before as well about the importance when you're implementing an AI program, shall we say, within the workplace, is that it's all firstly done manually.
Yes.
So you're not taking any shortcuts when you're building it.
No. So what we do is our process is quite robust. So we'll say to get from point A, where we first talk to the client, to get to point B, where it's fully live, it takes minimum like anywhere between 2 to maybe 7 to 8 weeks. We had some projects that were like 11 months long.
Wow.
And the case is that what I do in my process, in my business process, is I try to very deeply understand the pain point and the value of what the system should do in order to build a system for them. So we have our call, we have our discovery call, and they'll tell me, okay, we're spending this much time on this task. We have 5 people doing this. Their time could be used a lot better in something else. And then we're trying to understand, but what are these people doing manually, where we can have a system that's trained on similar knowledge base as them, and replace what they're doing and have their focus shift to something that's more important for having a business. Like in the case of the installer companies, their main revenue driver is installing their service, and spending a couple of hours per day people coming in and then quoting them is not as leveraged as actually getting the money in for their service.
They could be doing more impactful things in the business.
Exactly. So my idea is to understand. I don't build a system until I understand the value of it that we're going to do for you and the reasoning behind why you even want it in the first place. So my job essentially is to get into the client's shoes and really deeply understand is, why do they even want, what prompted them to even have a conversation with me? Why did they reach out to me? What's the point of this call? So to understand that, and then based off that, then implement technology that solves their problem. Again, for context, we've done like zero marketing so far. We've been purely referral up until this
Brilliant.
point.
Well, that's the best. Isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
and it's been purely referrals for the last 2 years, and I'm
Excellent.
actually building out my marketing campaign, which is actually why I came in to shoot my VSL.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I think a lot of people just are looking for a quick money grab in this gold rush, but that's not going to last. I think you need to genuinely care about what you're doing and genuinely understand and want to help the person in order to get to their desired outcome. And I think that's just business in general. Like,
Yeah.
you're not going to buy someone from something from someone that's just in there for the money. You know,
100%.
you want them to be a partner.
Apps that I think people might be familiar with would be ChatGPT. There's Grok from Elon Musk.
Yeah.
There's DeepSeek from China.
Yeah.
Talk to me about those apps. Is one better than the other? Is ones we should be careful of?
Okay, so DeepSeek, from my understanding, was China's version of OpenAI's competitive ChatGPT. Grok is, I believe, primarily used on X, which is Elon's app, and they also have like an interface as well that they use, but I haven't used it that much. The only reason I haven't used that much is because I use primarily two others, which is Claude and ChatGPT. They're just by far they're the industry standard in my opinion, because the amount of ease of use they have, and the amount of knowledge that they have given to you. So Claude is by Anthropic. It's really good for coding.
It's by
a company called Anthropic.
Okay.
And it's really good as well for coding based solutions. But for overall uses, ChatGPT is still for me the industry standard, purely because I'm used to it by now.
Yeah.
Like when it first came out, I was like, oh my god, this is revolutionary. I think it's gonna be as big as the iPhone, like, because of the amount of things that it opened up for me. Like before then we were coding with everything. Like we still code. We're writing scripts. We're writing everything manually. Now you just have a system that you can literally train on your own business to help you out. It's like your own little assistant walking around 24/7. What I did in my case as well is I got like the top 20 best business principles, podcasts and books. I got a PDF version of them online. I took the transcript from the YouTube channel as well, and I synthesized that and I uploaded it into a custom GPT. So I have the knowledge of all of their knowledge, and I can literally ask advice for it. I can ask for some help. I can get some cracks from it. So I still think that ChatGPT is the industry standard for me personally, and for majority of people for day-to-day tasks, because you can now even talk to it. You can install it onto any machine you want, as an app or as a small GPT as well. And it's just, for me, the best one. I think for majority as well would be.
So what I'm familiar with ChatGPT is you could ask it a question and it'll give you a more insightful response than the likes of Google's. You can get it to generate an image for you.
Yeah.
You could throw in something like a PDF document and say, summarize it.
Yeah.
Am I just looking, is there a lot more to it than that?
Yeah, there is. I actually have a couple of YouTube videos up on that as well. And it's actually a topic we studied in my master's degree as well, which is prompt engineering. So prompt engineering is kind of like a new term where you actually have to talk to the AI in a certain way to get a certain response. Now, there's different frameworks you can use. There's different tones and tonalities that you could implement. Essentially, AI and how your use of AI, it boils down to two things: the quality of the knowledge base, which is the data, and how you interact with it.
Okay.
So first things first, get a good knowledge base, which is like all the files you want to actually like learn from. And then
and does it store them within my profile for me, or do I have to? Is it just for that one question?
There's two. You can put it, or there's three ways. You can put it directly in the chat, so it's like a smaller version. You can create one within the app, like a custom GPT, and then you have a third one where you can use it locally, or extract it through an LLM, and use the API keys to just use it as a connector to the knowledge base that OpenAI already has, and can maybe connect to another app or to another custom GPT to make it more robust and maybe store more data. But the way to get the most out of it, I fear, would be understand frameworks. So one in particular, one that I use a lot, is the Risen framework. And the idea is each letter has its own kind of aspect of it. So it has your goals, which you're trying to achieve, It has the way you want to talk to it. It has what the narrowing of the answer should be, and it allows you to then interact with the system in a better way.
So Risen is an acronym for what when it comes to GBT?
It's a prompt engineering framework, so it's a framework that allows you to get the most out of it when talking to a system. So the role of the AIs, for example, is okay. You are a business tutor, or you are a marketing manager.
Okay.
That's an expert. That's been a marketing manager for the last 30 years. I need to have 20 marketing campaigns up and running within the next 2 months. Okay. Steps. Provide for me a step-by-step plan to get to those campaigns, and give me a breakdown analysis of each one step by step. So then we have expectations. Expectations is I expect you to be provide for me a concise plan for all of these campaigns, and I want you to make it simple for me to understand, while also getting the best and the most SEO practices out, to get the most conversions out of it, making it more psychologically triggering for people to click on the ad.
Okay.
Keeping it narrow it down to, we'll say it was for simplicity, we're using SEO blogs, narrow it down to maybe 500 words per blog, or for Facebook campaigns, narrow it down to 10 words per campaign, or make it more intuitive per image. Maybe provide 3 images that are related to my product, so you can narrow it down that way. And that's just one of them. There's so many frameworks, by the way.
So Risen is a framework that they say works for ChatGPT. So it's roles, input, steps, expectations, and narrowing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a great framework. There's loads of them as well, but this is like the best one for I kind of teach people how to use, and it allows you to essentially program the system and train it onto, so okay, this is what we're trying to achieve, this is what you're supposed to do for me, this is some of the goals that we need to achieve, get out of it, or the expectations we need to get out of it, and this is how you do it. And then that framework alone would give you a much better answer than just saying something like, I need to have 10 or 20 campaigns up and running in the next 20 days, whatever. So using these, like, the more detail you use as well is a lot better as well. So it allows the AI to kind of work off what you said to it, and then build you something a lot more suited and tailored towards your needs, So, yeah.
So you're saying that ChatGPT has an API that can be integrated into other apps.
Yes.
What kind of apps can integrate with ChatGPT that we would know of?
So the API keys used within ChatGPT, they can primarily be used within any app, so to speak. You could use it for anything that requires artificial intelligence. It can be used in. Now, the way that works is that you pay for credits, and then the API calls based on how the users interact with your app. It kind of builds you per day. I think it's quite cheap, but it's still, if you're having like 500 messages per day come in, it gets a little bit expensive, to run. But to answer your question, the API can be used primarily in any software that requires an AI to maybe interact with someone.
But you probably need like a coding background, really.
You do, yeah. So primarily myself, I've 6 years now experience in coding and development, from a professional and educational standpoint. So, you do need a little bit of experience in it, but there's nothing you can't use ChatGPT to learn how to code.
True. And is there a thing that you're better to pay for the ChatGPT subscription than to use the free version, because the free version it doesn't have as much privacy with the data you're inputting?
No, I wouldn't even say much so about the privacy. It's more so the level of reasoning that the AI has. So there's different tiers to it. So if we're talking like the basic one, like I think it's 3.5 now, that one is just like basic stuff. Then you have the pro version, which is probably the best bang for buck. I think it's like 20 quid. And you get the 4.0s. And by the way, they release new models like every other week, so it's hard to keep up with them. They have like 4.0, they have 4.5, they have 1.0, they have O Mini, they have 4.0 Mini. They have so many models, and the idea behind them is that they're related to the API keys that you get. And the idea behind that is different applications require different levels of knowledge and reasoning. So the O1, I believe at this time it's O1, that's the most kind of intense one. And that one is quite expensive to run for. And that's used for really complex tasks, like building out full-on databases with that, Whereas 4.0, a lot of people still use 3.5 as well because it helps out for like app connections, but that's from an API standpoint. But yes, from a reasoning standpoint, the different tiers, it's just how good the quality of answers will be of how you input it, So it's like any kind of SaaS model, you get a nice version of freemium and kind of show what's possible, and the 4.0 is good. But like for me personally, I would recommend everybody to try out the $20 or €20 version, just because it's really, really good, and you get unlimited 4.0 responses. Now, I know they have another version, which is the €200 one.
€200
per month, yeah.
Wow.
I haven't used that one that much. I played around with it, but I haven't used that one that much because the €20 one is still probably unbelievable what you get for it. So, yeah, they're the different strengths of replies and understanding of what you're saying to it is where the pricing model kind of comes in.
And you were saying that the paid version compared to the free version has better data in it to be outputting better answers for you.
I wouldn't say better data per se. It's better understanding of the data that you are saying to it.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just
because where does this data come from that's being used in ChatGPT?
It comes from their knowledge base. So their knowledge base is where I think they spend a lot of money training their knowledge base. I think I can't even give a figure of how much they spend training it on everything, but it comes from the knowledge base. So their knowledge base is absolutely massive on everything. So much so that you can create custom GPTs on it with your own kind of handpicked knowledge from it. So pretty much comes from that. Yeah, their knowledge base.
So it's literally just getting as much information out there
as possible, training
books, audio,
training
videos,
materials. Yeah. They also use a lot of chips, obviously, to train the system, like NVIDIA chips, to train the system on, and to store these data and to make the reasoning a lot more efficient. But yeah, there's a whole cluster of things that they do. Yeah, it's insane. Like they're one of the most profitable companies ever at this stage now. Like, I think they made 1 million users, the quickest company to get to 1 million users paid in history.
Wow.
OpenAI, so it's absolutely insane. And the funny thing is they actually started as a non-profit.
That's right. Yeah.
But yeah, then they have $200 subscriptions.
yeah, exactly the irony of it. Capitalism at its finest.
Yeah.
Is there software that can easily detect if something is a deepfake or not?
That's a really good question. So deepfakes are getting extremely good. I actually seen a video on Twitter not so long ago about just a normal guy playing around with deepfakes, and he was posing as different celebrities the whole time, and it was really, you couldn't tell the difference at all. Like, granted, he was sitting in a room in his bedroom, so you could tell that way, but to my knowledge, there is softwares that are able to counteract deepfakes. But again, this is kind of where I mentioned before, whereby there's AI is being developed to counteract AI, So that's where that kind of comes in. Personally, I haven't played around with deepfakes that much, so I couldn't really tell you exactly what software is the best for that. But definitely that's one concern that I've seen pop out a lot, because it kind of gets scary. You can clone people's voices now, you can clone people's faces now, you get a green screen behind you, you can pretty much be anyone at this stage.
Yeah.
So it's quite scary, but there's software being developed to counteract that as well. So
it's because I know that the last, I think maybe 50 years has been the fastest evolution that we have had in terms of an era. When you go back to the Industrial Revolution and the other big changes in society over the years, that the last 50 years has been so fast. But they're talking about with AI now, the last 50 years is going to be nothing. It's like everything's going to be changing within seconds.
Literally, like I as I mentioned, I see OpenAI release models every other week now, and the amount of rate of acceleration it can help us out with from all aspects, like even medicine and understanding that, medicine, tech, self-help, self-defense, even
cool.
So like I've seen a couple of projects now where they're building like AI-based robots for self-defense even.
So maybe it's the robots we need to be scared of, not AI itself. Terminator coming to life.
Yeah, I think we're still quite a way away from that. But it's something could be a concern as well. But that's where like ethics and a lot of ethical AI use needs to come in place. And there's a lot of regulation coming in place as well. So being wary of that and having the right people develop it will play a like big part of this. So it's a really interesting space like to have it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
I heard about ChatGPT through word of mouth, and I heard about Claude when I was in a group with other business leaders, and one of them was saying that they used Claude, and everyone else was saying they used ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Is there a place where you can actually go, whether it's online or something, and actually find out what the new, like these are the new AIs, and this is what they do? Like, how would you find out what's the new AI app?
Again, staying for me, what worked was just following people on like that are like similar to like any other tech industry move. So I'm not fully aware of the best one to get like a website to get it, because I just get all of my kind of updates through all the groups that I'm in, all the communities that I'm part of. Similar enough, DeepSeek, for example, everybody just kind of heard about it straight away. Like, but it's been around for a while as well. Like I read actually a research paper on it from a couple of years back.
Okay.
So it's been around for a while, but even just getting just being part of like groups and even following some Twitter guys or Instagram guys or Facebook guys, whatever your social media platform is a choice, and just getting involved in that space, and that's how you'll get the most updates. That's how I get most of my updates as well, and you kind of pick your point. There's new newsletters you can sign up to as well. I'll be launching a newsletter campaign for this as well, so people kind of stay up to date with it. And that's, I actually have a couple of videos about comparing Perplexity, and it's another kind of software, and ChatGPT's image generator when it first kind of came out, and not image generator, sorry, search generator. So AI, ChatGPT has a really good search feature now as well, where you can actually search past academic papers, past everything. It's really great.
Wow.
And before this came out, Perplexity AI was like the industry standard for academic research, and now I had a video comparing them two as well, which is quite great. But
because you've done videos actually helping students with the upcoming exams, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I even use this method myself. As like I created a knowledge base based of past exam papers and lecture material, and I was like literally talking to my exam papers and my lecture material and getting answers back from them, like, and getting questions and additional ones, and it helped me quite a lot as well. So again, getting all of this, to answer the question for where to get the best resource, I would follow people in social media platforms and stay in communities. But yes, helping out students. I had a couple of first year students come up to me and say, "Okay, watch your video in the gym." In the gym, came up to me, "Oh, I watched your video. It was quite cool. It helped me out a lot." I was like, "Oh, really?" It's cool. It didn't even get that much views. I think I had like a couple of hundred views, but still, it was kind of cool to see that.
Yeah.
But again, that's just kind of one way where students can potentially use it. Now, students also have like access to like Notebook LM, which is, I think, a really, really cool AI feature. And that's mostly like, I think anybody can pretty much use it, not just exclusively students. And the idea is that you can literally, or you can get upload a knowledge base on what topics you want to learn, and it will produce a podcast similar to what we're doing on the topic of what they are trying to learn. Because a lot of people like also learn through podcasts.
That's right, yeah.
So it's a really interesting way to kind of use AI, again, not just for like business use, but just for normal educational use as well, you know. So it's cool. I find it quite cool.
Fascinating. Just one thing I want to touch on as well before we finish up is you've been to Silicon Valley and you've been to Singapore.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is he telling me he's been to Singapore? Maybe, he had a great time on holidays or something like that. But you were saying that Singapore is actually leading the way now when it comes to tech.
Singapore is an absolute powerhouse when it comes to new frontier tech, especially in the AI space. I was at a conference there called Super AI, and funny enough, they had a lot of really, really interesting guests as well. Edward Snowden was actually one of them.
Yeah.
They had he was not physically there, but he was on a prompter. You could ask some questions and everything. So it was quite interesting to see the theme for that particular conference was like decentralized AI. So it's like how to use AI freely. So right now, a lot of activists are kind of saying that AI is owned by the big companies like OpenAI and Google, like Gemini, and then some other cloud, like, and they kind of fear like censorship and stuff. So that's where where DeepSeek kind of struck a chord. Like, is that even if it was quite funny, if you go into DeepSeek and when it first came out, it was still kind of buggy. And if you ask it for anything that China has done in the past, it would start writing it, but then it would delete it.
Okay.
So it was kind of cool like that. And that was kind of like the fear that they don't want AI to be controlled by one organization,
Yes.
but to make it more so open source where people can use it. So that was kind of like the theme of it. And I found it quite interesting. And it was probably one of the best conferences I've been at. And they had so much stuff going on. Like they had talking robots. They had AI-based VR stuff going on. It was absolutely insane. And it's just really cool to see, like, when I first starting out, like, okay, this is amazing. Like how much people are involved in the space. And it's just, it's a whole different level. Like I feel like Silicon Valley is like the hub for like startups.
Yeah.
And it's like a lot of AI native startups, if you will, whereas Singapore is like really like more so innovation, like trying new things. And that's not to say that Silicon Valley was still amazing. Like, I met so many cool people there building cool things, and it's just really interesting to see how different, like they are their own powerhouses in their own realm. But it's just what I've seen over there was just absolutely crazy. Like, they had a robot on stage talking to us, like it was fully able to comprehend what we were saying, how we were speaking to it. It was able to look at us, understand our tonality of us, and give a proper response to what we were trying to talk to it. Like I asked it a question, like, do you think do you think robots will take over the world through AI? And they're like, no, not yet. I don't think so. I was like, okay, not yet. We still have a couple of minutes. Like, but it was great. It's a cool place.
Well, I remember watching Back to the Future 2, and which came out around 1980, was it 85, 86 or so, and was this idea of in 2010 or something that there'd be flying cars.
Yeah.
And we were like, yeah, they probably will. But I probably believe more so that let's give it a few years, we'll say 2060, that nearly most homes will have a robot in it.
Yeah.
I think if the vacuum cleaner's already going around, or mowing the lawn outside. So I think it's only a matter of time before we've, like, you come home and there's the robot doing the ironing for you, and it has the dinner cooked and all that.
I think we're probably sooner than 2060. I think we can have it in like 10 years probably.
Wow.
At the rate we're going at, like we didn't have self-driving cars a couple of years ago,
True,
so now we have this. So I don't think it's going to be long until we're at that stage as well. But it's a really interesting space, and I think people shouldn't like fear it, but more so kind of get more included into it. Similar to like the websites, and when websites first came out, I think it's just a cool space to be in, and the amount of capabilities and opportunities it presents to people, even for basic tasks, is absolutely insane. So yeah, it's cool.
It is. Look, Misha,
Great.
Your door is wide open for anyone who's interested in how you can systemize through AI their business and make it more efficient and progressive. Aton is the name of the company. Yeah.
Our domain name is actually atonpartners.com if anybody wants to go over and have a look. But yeah, I really appreciate for you having me here. I think it's been an amazing podcast, very interesting.
Absolutely.
And I hope we can see you again.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. Thanks a million, Misha.
Cool. Thanks.
This is a GK Media podcast.